welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Giants and the Redskins, classic game, baby. We get to be in it. Go out here and leave it out all on the field, baby. Wait on three. 1, 2, 3. Wait.
We welcome you back. It's the Giants and the Redskins. NFC East battle, 44 degrees in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Giants have won the toss. Before we get started, downstairs to Tony Siragusa. Goose.
Thanks, Kenny. Look, it's been a rough season for both the Redskins and the Giants, and it's natural for people who want change when things aren't going bad. You know, good for a team. Sorry about that. But for me, it's nothing about the coaches. It's all about the players. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen Tom Coughlin or Jay Gruden on the field this year. The coach's job is to prepare you as a player, and the player's job is to take that information and apply it to the game. Trust me, it's going to be really obvious in this game to see what players are giving you 100% and which players aren't.
Goose, by the way, 19 below on the North Pole if you're heading there next.
Well, you know what, Kenny? I've been caught before down here on the field when you said 30 or 40 degrees and it's gotten wind chills, down into 10. So I am not going to go and get caught again, Kenny. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, you're ready, and we are underway as Kai Forback gets things started. Preston Parker on the return for the Giants out to the 23-yard line as Eli Manning leads the Giants offense out, his 165th consecutive regular season start.
Very impressive what he has been able to do, how he's been able to stay healthy, and that usually translates into success for your team, but it's been a tough go for the Giants the last several years.
Giants start from their 23. Rashad Jennings in the backfield with the fullback Henry Hajnowski. This is Jennings on first down, 8 of 4. Giants offense this season ranked 14th. There is a flag as we take a look at the New York offensive line.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to have my first-hand look today at Odell Beckham
Play is
Jr.
over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 26 in the defense. 15-yard penalty added in play, first down.
Yeah, we all remember that fantastic catch he had Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys, but when you sit down and talk to him, I think he has all the intangibles that you would hope for in a young person playing this game that has shown that type of talent at the start of his career.
How about that pass he threw last week?
And guys, that unnecessary roughness call, Bushot Breeland picking up where he left off in practice this week. An altercation with teammate Andre Roberts. High snap, and Manning hits Beckham. This time Goosey's the recipient. And Odell Beckham Jr. takes it out to the 47-yard line for a gain of 6.
Looks like they're going to be going right after Beckham. That's where the personal foul was on.
Yeah. And he's not going to back down. This is a confident young player with just immense talent.
Eagle in. 5-1.
On second down and 4, this is Andre Williams, who had a big day last Sunday against Tennessee, gaining 131 yards on the ground for the Giants, the rookie out of Boston College. A look at the 10th-ranked Redskins defense.
Yeah, and it's going to be a challenge for him today. Jason Hatcher is out. Keenan Robinson out again. Brandon Merriweather out again. So this defense is going to have to really kind of dig deep and come after it. Ryan Kerrigan has had a breakout season this year. We'll see if he can carry this team as the emotional leader.
11.5 sacks for Kerrigan. Beckham comes in motion. 3rd down and 2 for the Giants on their opening possession. Manning gets rid of it quickly. It's Beckham once again, but he was out of bounds.
No pressure again on that one, Darryl. Just rushing 4 guys on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, well, I think it's hard because they do so many different things. You see right here, they're moving the pocket, trying to get Odell Beckham Jr. outflanked right away. Working the sideline, they say he does not get his feet in bounds. First one down, you can see as that second one comes in, it goes into the white.
Steve Weatherford out to punt. Andre Roberts back deep for the Redskins. Roberts lets it go, and a terrific job downing it inside the 5-yard line for the Giants is Zach Bowman. It was Roberts back deep for the Redskins, and we mentioned the altercation down during the week involving Roberts and his teammate Breland.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes a lot of people are taken back by this. You would actually see teammates fighting, but Washington this week in practice went a lot of ones versus ones. And when you get into that type of situation, those competitive juices start flowing. You could have an altercation like that. Normally that is done during training camp. I can't tell you how many fights we had during the course of training camp in my career when you do get into those one versus one situations.
Somebody's got to tell those guys to keep their helmets on when they're going to fight like that. Those guys both took their helmets off. Crazy.
The ones, of course, are the starters on both offense and defense. McCoy out of the end zone, and the catch is made by Deshaun Jackson, who missed last week's game. He's playing in his 100th NFL game today. Colt McCoy, we alluded in our open, Darryl, to the merry-go-round at the quarterback position for the Redskins this season. McCoy making his 4th start.
And he's got an opportunity right now to create some separation from Robert Griffin III and from Kirk Cousins. Jay Gruden is trying to find out, do I have my quarterback of the future on my roster right now, or is that something I'm going to have to address in free agency or the draft next season?
This is Alfred Morris on 2nd and 4. A couple of flags are thrown at the end of the play.
Use the hands to the face, defense. 5-yard penalty results in an automatic first down.
Take a look at the play. Keep your eyes on number 58, Mark Herzlich, right there. Right here in the center of your screen, you can see the hands up on that face mask continuing to push up as he's working against Niles Paul.
Mark Herzlich returning to the Giants lineup. Missed last week's game. Starting for the injured Jaquan Williams. Four receivers set. McCoy out of the shotgun on first down. It is taken all the way out to the 34-yard line by McCoy.
And I think this is a play you have to have in your offense today against the New York Giants, because you remember what Seattle did, and a lot of that was responsibility. Cullen Jenkins squeezes down too much. They're wrapping the linebacker around. Devon Kennard trying to confuse you on what your read is going to be, but it's a well-designed play. Colt McCoy pulls it. Tuck takes it upfield and actually does a nice job running.
Yeah, Devon Kennard, he's got to go and stay in that line of scrimmage and play the quarterback. He can't be caught upfield. It's too big of a lane right there.
McCoy gains 20, matches his career-long run. Empty backfield. And it's taken out to the 42-yard line by the tight end, Jordan Reed, forced out by Jameel McClain, gain of 8.
Well, the challenge for the Redskins this season has been the ability to just stay ahead of the chains. They find themselves in 3rd and long so often. A lot of negative plays, penalties, missed assignments, and that takes away the opportunity for Alfred Morris to be really a key figure in your game, especially in the first half. If you're continually facing 2nd and 14, 2nd and 17s, it's hard to continue to handle the ball off in that situation.
Morris only 6 yards on 8 carries last week against St. Louis. Takes it into Giants territory for a Redskins first down. 14 yards for Morris, going up against the 23rd ranked Giants defensive unit.
Yeah, and one of the guys that everybody talked about when we looked at the Giants and we were speaking with the Redskins is Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. They're saying he's playing as well as any corner in the league, and that comes from Jay Gruden. That came from Colt McCoy, so they're well aware of number 21 out on that field when he's matched up.
Redskins started this drive at their own 4-yard line. They were shut out last week. They have not scored a touchdown in 5 quarters. McCoy spins away from Pierre Paul, and that hit the turf. Bounced up into the hands of Pierre Garçon. 2nd and 10 upcoming.
Well, nice job by Colt McCoy right here, feeling the pressure from Jason Pierre-Paul, and just spins out of it right there. Has an opportunity for a nice play here, but short hops it into Pierre Garçon.
Garçon, who led the league last season with 113 receptions, has 58 this year. Silas Red, a rookie out of USC, started his career at Penn State, replaces Morris in the backfield. Redskins without Roy Halou Jr. today. Off the fake to Red. McCoy rolling right, complete to the tight end, Logan Paulson. And Paulson is close to a Redskins first down, stopped just shy at the Giants 35.
And I think that that's a big miss. Roy Halou Jr., he was very impressive. We had the Redskins versus the Colts a couple of weeks ago, and Roy Halou Jr. played very, very well in that game, was having a nice season. And when you're talking about the inability to establish some rhythm and some cohesion with your offense, that third down back becomes very important.
Red remains in, along with the fullback Darrell Young. Third down and 1 for Washington. And this is Young. And he picks up a first down.
That's what they count on those fullbacks to do. Right, Darryl?
Well, you get there
that
quick, you
famous
know.
1 yard.
Yeah, and it happens real quick. You know, it really kind of gets on those defensive linemen right away. So that is one of the ones we see a lot in a traditional two-back set, is just that quick handoff inside.
First and 10 for Jake Ruden's Redskins. From the 33, there's Alfred Morris stretching on the sidelines and movement prior to the snap.
And that's one of the situations that they find themselves in. If this goes against the Redskins in this situation, are these penalties on first down?
Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You know, Colt McCoy is at the line of scrimmage. He wants to change the play. You're going to see him back away and go to audible out. There's Trent Williams leaning and moving around, number 71. And there you see right there is Colt McCoy steps up to create the audible. Niles Paul jumps off sides.
Second Washington penalty forces the Redskins back 5 yards. First down and 15. Off the play fake. McCoy sets up the screen. This is Red. Silas Red down to the 21. As a Redskin first down, gain of 17.
Nice positive play in that situation. The ability to just check the ball down. You may have receivers deep down the field, but this is a good decision by Colt McCoy. He's got Silas Red Jr. right there, open in the flat. Take that. Let's line up on second down. If it's 2nd and 7, you know, we'll come back and try and get after that one. But you don't want to force what's not there.
McCoy has completed 4 of 5 attempts on the drive. 10th play of the drive. Off the play fake, rolling right. McCoy fires, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Deshaun Jackson with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie on the coverage.
Well, this is kind of interesting because normally when the quarterback comes out on the bootleg, you've got options out here, but the only receiver on that side was Deshaun Jackson on the deep route on that comeback. There was no trailer coming across at mid-level. There was nobody in the flat immediately. Normally, Colt McCoy would have a couple of options once he got out to that side of the field.
Redskins now send in Chris Thompson. And he is split wide to the left, brought up from the practice squad this week. Empty backfield, 11th play of the drive. McCoy under pressure, he steps up. And he gains 4 down to the Giants 17. Setting up third down and 6.
As a defensive line, this is exactly what you want. They spread everybody out to the outside. He had 4 rushes. You see the Giants defensive line. You're going to get the one-on-one. Jason Pierre-Paul on the outside. He's bringing the pressure, but they keep him in the pocket. The guys up front do a nice job of staying in front of him. That's how they were able to get a sack, and now let Colt McCoy go and run for a first down.
Redskins medical staff continues to work on Alfred Morris. Third down and 6. Redskins must get to the 11. McCoy throws on third down and it's short. Intended for Garcon, so the Redskins will send out the field goal unit.
Well, a positive start to the game if they can convert right here on the field goal. Last week, the opening drive of the game, they had a nice drive going when they had the turnover. So, you know, baby steps for the Washington Redskins. If they can get a conversion here on this field goal attempt to get 3 points, it's a good start to the game.
Kai Forbath from the right hash, 35-yard attempt. Russ Wade places it down, and Forbath's kick is good. So the Redskins shut out last week by the Rams. On the board, they score 3 from McCoy on their opening drive. Redskins out to a 3-0 lead on the Giants. Colt McCoy suffered the disc issue in his neck in last week's game against the Rams. He said early in the week the doctors wrote him off. He thought he would miss the next few weeks.
Yeah, they said it was going to be one of those injuries that's just going to take time to heal, but he went to a specialist Sunday after the game, went to him again late in the week, and was cleared to play.
Cleared on Friday. Preston Parker out across the 30, still on his feet, and finally brought down at the 44-yard line by Trevardo Williams. 45-yard return by Parker.
Today's game is sponsored by Stella Artois. She is a thing of beauty.
Freedom Tower in Lower Manhattan. Redskins lead the Giants 3-0. Longest kick return of the season for the Giants. Preston Parker, 45 yards, setting up terrific field position. 2 tight ends, empty backfield. Manning on 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line, a pump fake, and then it's off the hands of Odell Beckham Jr.
And we talked about the streak that Eli Manning has going and how he's been an Iron Man at this position. And you've talked to him and you're like, hey, have you ever been close? You know, has there ever been a time where you thought that streak was going to end? This is a guy who's played through an AC separation on his throwing shoulder and then also a ruptured plantar fascia. So he said he was close a couple of times, but was able to fight through it.
Listed on the injury report this week. On 2nd and 10, it's complete to the tight end Larry Donnell, who caught 3 touchdown passes from Manning in the first meeting between these teams back in week 4. A game won by the Giants 45-14. By the way, Eli did tell us Friday he thinks he missed a game in 9th grade playing on the JV team down in New Orleans. He had a stomach bug on a Friday night, missed the Saturday morning game.
But he said he could have played if he really had to, because it wasn't that big of a game.
So the streak started, Goose, the next week. Has not missed a start since.
He remembered that, right?
He said, I think it was 8th grade. No, it was 9th. Manning on 3rd and 4. And the catch is made for a first down by the ex-Cowboy, Buccaneer, and Lion Kevin Ogletree for a gain of 15.
And that's some of the growing pains that we're talking about when you're going through a new offense. Is every once in a while you got a couple of guys in the same spot, and Larry Donnell has a tough time getting through that seam area to clear for Kevin Ogletree.
This is Andre Williams, and he's bottled up by Stephen Bowen.
I'll tell you what, Ogletree took a huge hit here at the end. Oof. Nice job of protecting the ball. Stood up. He looked a little like he was a little banged up. Didn't know which way to go, but keep an eye on him.
Philip Thomas, 41 for the Redskins, starting for the injured Brandon Merriweather. 2nd and 10. 3 receivers set. Beckham slot to the left. Manning, pump fake, steps up, throws to the outside. And it's Parker, wrapped up by Amerson. Preston Parker picks up another Giants first down, gain of 12.
And for you Giant fans wondering why there was not a helmet-to-helmet penalty on that last play, Kevin Ogletree had become a runner there. He was not a defenseless player.
Well, this is exactly what Ben McAdoo, offensive coordinator for the Giants, wants to do. He wants to put a lot of plays together, big long drives, try and tire out that defensive line for the Redskins.
He feels his offensive line is at its strongest during these long drives. As you said, Goose, when the defensive line gets tired. Manning extends the play, and now he throws. That is intended for Parker. And he took a hit from E.J. Biggers at the end of the play.
And this is a situation where Eli's just he's got to take care of his wide receiver right here. He's to the outside, and you got to be able to see what's coming. And he gets it down there now. Preston Parker's going to do everything he possibly can to go make this catch. He's expecting that side of the field to be cleared in that man-to-man situation. And nobody saw number 30, E.J. Biggers, waiting on the opposite side.
2nd and 10. Beckham, bottom of your screen, split wide to the right. Toss to Williams. And Williams takes it inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. The 4th-round pick out of Boston College, who led the nation in rushing last season and finished 4th in Heisman balloting last year.
And finally had that breakout game that he was waiting for in his rookie season. And you know, the guy that I was really impressed with was Rashad Jennings. You know, he'd been talking about, you know, this is going to be your opportunity. It's going to be your opportunity. Very happy to see his running mate have the type of day he did last week against Tennessee.
Jennings with the ankle issue last week. Manning on 3rd down and 5. Over the middle, the catch is made by Corey Washington, but he is stopped just short by the combination of Ryan Clark and Kenny Okoro.
Wow, Ryan Clark, Moose brought up a mean stop right there from the back.
Yeah, there's some big hits going on in the Redskins secondary right now.
Ryan Clark began his career with the Giants.
And those receivers go and earn every yard they possibly can get back there in that secondary for the Redskins.
Are you trying to send that message early on? If you're going to be running the crossing routes, anything inside, you're going to take that big hit. And Washington on this series right here has had 3 really big hits in their secondary.
Corey Washington stopped just short on his 5th reception of the season for the Giants. Jim Haslett, Redskins defensive coordinator. Giants leave the offense on the field on 4th down. Why not?
Guys, real quick, Colt McCoy, number 16, he's got a neck. He's questionable for return, just to give you guys a heads up there.
Thanks, Goose. RG3 is the backup. Kirk Cousins inactive today. Giants going for it on 4th down. Inside handoff to the fullback. They called the Rhinoceros. Henry Hynoski. Moose was already taken, so they went with Rhinoceros.
Yeah, I had a chance to visit with Henry before the game. We're talking with Larry Izzo, and Larry wanted to know who would win the battle, the Moose or the Rhinoceros. I gave it to Henry. I said the Rhinoceros would probably handle the Moose pretty easily, and Larry said, no, I don't think so.
Always those fullbacks have those great names, you know, Moose, Rhinoceros. You never hear a fullback like Goose, Twinkle Toes, or Goose, or any of those things.
10th play of the drive for the Giants. Andre Williams to the Redskins 9.
How'd you get the nickname Moose, Darryl?
Oh, long story, Goose, long story.
Real long, or just?
Well, yeah, we'll get into it when we got some time. It's too much depth there. Not a simple one.
We have a couple hours, Goose.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Only known each other, what, 13 years? First time you've asked?
Yep.
2nd down and 8. 3 wide receivers set for the Giants. Looks like Williams turned the other way. Andre Williams, the intended receiver. It will be 3rd down and 8.
And these are one of those situations where you can have a really nice drive going, and then all of a sudden there's a miscommunication or a missed assignment, and you've got a pick 6 going the other way. You know, Philip Thomas very close to having an opportunity for that interception.
Redskins have only 5 picks all season. Nobody with more than 1. 3rd down and 8. Beckham slot to the right. Manel shifting. Manning on 3rd down to the end zone. It's Beckham. Touchdown.
We saw the catch on Sunday night with the one hand, and just imagine what happens when he can get 2 hands on it. It's going to be virtually impossible to separate Odell Beckham Jr. from the football, working out of the slot. There's a little rub play right there. And if you get it to him and he has an opportunity to get his hands on it, I just don't know if anybody's going to be able to take it out of those hands. I did a little measurement with him when I talked to him on Friday. I was blown away, you know, how much bigger his hands were than mine.
Yeah, like 1.5 inches. I think each finger was bigger.
7th touchdown this season for Odell Beckham Jr. There's Ben McAdoo, the offensive coordinator in the sweatshirt. And he told us on Friday with Odell, the hardest things seem to be the easiest.
And that, not just athletically, but also the mental part of this game. They have really kind of put him on the fast track to learning all the different positions across the formation, and he's handled it very well.
Gus Brown with the extra point. They went to the same high school. Newman down in New Orleans. Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. They combine on the touchdown.
Game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. We're taking pizza where it's never been before.
Giants now lead the Redskins 7-3 moments ago. You heard the report from Goose. Colt McCoy headed to the Redskins locker room during the commercial break. He has come back to the sidelines. He's sitting on the bench. Robert Griffin III took some practice throws. Andre Roberts will take a knee. So it will be Robert Griffin III entering the game at quarterback for the Redskins late first quarter. We take you back to the Redskins game last week against the Rams and the injury suffered by Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Corey Lichtensteiger snaps it early. Trent Williams not ready for it. Robert Quinn unabated to Colt McCoy and just a karate chop, right into that neck area. You can see him working on it right now, trying to loosen that up.
So Robert Griffin III in at quarterback. Alfred Morris has returned. Morris takes the handoff from Griffin and gains 4 out to the 24-yard line. Robert Griffin III, the starter coming out of camp, started the first 2 games injured. Week 2 against Jacksonville. Came back, started 3 games in November, all losses to Minnesota, Tampa Bay, and San Francisco, and then replaced by Jay Gruden 2 weeks ago prior to the game against Indianapolis.
Yeah, Jay Gruden feeling that just the decision-making, holding on to the ball, maybe not a full understanding of the concepts yet in the offense was delaying his ability to progress in the system.
On second down and 6, they get it into the hands of Deshaun Jackson. And Jackson picks up a first down out to the 33. So Jackson returning this week, of course, spent 6 years with the Eagles. And a couple of moments that Giant fans would like to erase from their memory. The game-ending punt return touchdown here back in 2010.
Yeah, I just had some unbelievable games as an Eagle against these Giants. And a critical part to this offense, and it's one of the things that Jay Gruden really struggled with last week, is the ability to stretch the field with his ability to create those one-on-ones with his feet.
Jackson missing the game last week. This is Silas Redd. Not much. Marcus Kuhn, who scored a defensive touchdown for the Giants last week, in on the tackle as time winds down in this first quarter. Redskins took a 3-0 lead. Giants with a scoring drive following a 45-yard kickoff return by Preston Parker. Colt McCoy left the game following the Redskins' last drive, so it's RG3 back under center. Second quarter coming up. 7-3 Giants. Well, we talked about the merry-go-round at the quarterback position for the Redskins during our open. And the Redskins lost Colt McCoy, who re-aggravated the neck injury in the first quarter as Griffin hits Garcon. So Robert Griffin III in the game for Washington. And as we mentioned, Kirk Cousins inactive today. Redskins with only 2 quarterbacks available. Third down and 4. Redskins must get to the 43. Clock at 5. Out of the shotgun. Griffin steps up, spins, down he goes. Back at the 32-yard line. Cullen Jenkins. First sack of the season.
Well, and this is a matchup that we were interested to see how it was going to pan out. The Giants have been on a tear the last 2 games with 15 sacks. The Redskins' offensive line really struggling in their protection, along with the coordination of running back and tight end. And there's a sack for the Giants right there.
Tress Way punting from his 20-yard line. There is a flag.
now is touched by the Redskins. Should be up around the 32. Had a touch prior to the ball being down.
Invalid fair catch signal. Number 13 in the return team. The 5-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
So Odell Beckham Jr. with an invalid fair catch signal. RG3 under pressure, sacked by Jenkins. Eli Manning and the Giants back to work from their 22-yard line. On first down, the handoff to Andre Williams. And Williams gains a yard. Out to the 23, Trent Murphy, rookie out of Stanford, made the tackle. Giants punted following their first possession, and then Manning to Beckham.
That second one started off by the great punt return by Preston Parker.
Now second down and 9 for the Giants, who ended their 7-game losing streak last week with the win over Tennessee. Redskins have lost 5 in a row. Manning on second down. He was looking for Ruben Randall. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
Packers fighting for playoff positioning. Buffalo fighting for their playoff lives. And Marcus Thigpen gives the Bills reason to keep hope alive. 75-yard punt return. That's in the first quarter, and the Bills take the lead over the Packers, 7-3. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Thanks, Kurt. The Green Bay Packers have never won in Buffalo.
And you would think that they would, because, I mean, the conditions have to be similar to Lambeau. We all know how well they're playing in Lambeau this year. Not a whole lot of difference with Ralph Wilson.
Green Bay 7-0 at home. Manning with time on third down and 9. He throws, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Parker. David Amerson on the coverage.
A nice job of coverage by David Amerson on that one. Preston Parker coming from the outside. Gets the inside release, and if you don't flatten that angle out, you can see as he kind of drifted downfield a little bit, that allows your cover guy to undercut that ball. So just a little bit flatter coming across the middle of the field.
Weatherford punting for the second time. In the Redskins deep on his first kick. This one is low, end over end. Taken at the 32 by Andre Roberts. Roberts turns the corner. There is a flag.
Now, when that football gets to you quick on a punt, that sometimes can be very, very dangerous. Spencer Pasinger did a nice job because he was the widest guy, and he forced the return man just to the sideline. Didn't allow him to get to that corner and get up the sideline.
Illegal block in the back. Number 54, the return team, during the return. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
That's on Trevardo Williams, activated just this week.
Today's game is sponsored by Ford. Beautiful things happen when you go further.
Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa back at MetLife Stadium. There is today's starting quarterback, Colt McCoy, on the sidelines. Re-aggravated the neck injury. Robert Griffin III, second series, over the middle, and a diving catch is made by Pierre Garçon for a Redskins first down, a 23-yard pass play.
And this is an opportunity that I know that Robert Griffin III is prepared for and waiting for. We had them against the Colts a couple of weeks ago when Colt McCoy got his first start after those 3 games that Robert Griffin III had been the quarterback, and he understood his role as number 2, that he had to be ready at any time to step on the field.
First and 10 from the 45-yard line. The give to Alfred Morris, who gains 3, and Jay Gruden, honest with us again yesterday, as he was in Indianapolis. He said it's been a bit unsettling. All 3 guys, Griffin, McCoy, and Cousins, have had an opportunity to take the job and run with it, but all have left the door open.
Yeah, waiting for one of the three to create some separation from the other two. He talked about Robert Griffin III and his decision-making and maybe the overall understanding of the concepts in this system. He talked about Kirk Cousins and the interceptions. And then Colt McCoy, he felt that he had the best opportunity to create that separation because of his experience.
Penalty flag as Griffin hits Niles Paul. Now a second flag is thrown.
Demontre Moore holding. Niles Paul trying to release underneath him, just kind of grabbed a hold of him and held him up.
Prior to the pass, holding number 98 in the defense. The 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You'll see on the release here as you cross the formation, just give him a bump. Don't grab a hold of him and pull him. Just knock him down.
Gotta love Tom Coughlin's face when he goes and tries to get the explanation from the guy who just got the penalty.
You're not going to fool Coach Coughlin.
He's seen many of penalties and heard many of excuses.
That's an expression we have seen over the last decade plus. Following the penalty, 1st and 10 from midfield for the Redskins. Off the fake to Morris. Complete to a wide open Niles Paul, who picks up another Redskins first down to the Giants 33. 17-yard connection.
Well, on this drive, the decision-making has been crisp by Robert Griffin III. It's been quick. It's been decisive. You know, you're not going to wait and allow something to develop down the field when you've got a receiver that's right there in the flat for you.
Barry Fuel, Giants defensive coordinator. Giants have allowed only one touchdown to an opposing offense the last 2 weeks. Play action. Griffin rolling left. He throws and it's caught by Santana Moss, the 14-year vet who had no receptions all season until 2 weeks ago. And Moss gains 18.
And this should be something that will have success. You have to respect Alfred Morris in the running game, so you get everybody running, you get that flow, and then you drag Santana Moss across the formation. Good throw on the move by Robert Griffin III.
Yeah, a little play action and misdirection gives Robert Griffin III a little bit more time to go and find his receivers downfield.
RG3 now 4 for 4 since entering the game. Hands it off to Morris. And Morris takes it down to the 13-yard line for a gain of 3. Remember, the Redskins have gone 6 full quarters without scoring a touchdown. Shut out last week, did not reach the end zone in the 4th quarter against Indianapolis or the 1st quarter here today. Second down and 8. 3 receivers to the left. And now Chris Thompson split wide to the right. Redskins empty the backfield on 2nd down. Griffin stands in the pocket, throws, and the catch is made down at the 9-yard line by the tight end Jordan Reed.
One of the things that they're able to do this afternoon, the nemesis for the Washington Redskins have been 3rd down. They have been in so many 3rd and long situations during the course of the season. It derails your drive. It takes away your rhythm. This afternoon, at the start of this game, they're doing a much better job keeping pace with the down and distance, putting themselves into the manageable 3rd down situations.
It is now 3rd down and 4 from the Giants' 9. Play clock at 2. And Griffin looked to call timeout prior to the snap. With the play clock winding down,
Washington.
Redskins use their first timeout.
He gets this in just under the wire right there. Not sure if that snap would have come in time. The one thing we have seen since Robert Griffin III has come in as the quarterback and replacing Colt McCoy is that play clock getting right down close to 0 on several occasions here.
He has started the game 5 for 5. 3 years ago this very weekend, Robert Griffin III was in New York to accept the Heisman Trophy. And now Back in the area, on the field, in relief of the injured Colt McCoy. Third down and 4. Griffin throws. It's Thompson for a Redskins touchdown.
Good anticipation, good play call by Jay Gruden in this situation because the Giants are coming with a blitz. It's designed to get the ball out quickly, and there is nobody covering Chris Thompson on this play. Watch him right here. Your receiver's going to go up the field here. They're going to pull everybody out. Your blitzers are coming here. There's nobody in coverage.
That offensive line does a nice job, too, of picking everybody up and giving Robert Griffin III a little bit of extra time to find them.
First NFL reception, first NFL touchdown for Chris Thompson, who was just activated from the practice squad this week following the injury suffered by Roy Halou Jr. Fullback with the extra point. RG3 6 for 6 with a touchdown. Terrific drive for the Redskins. Robert Griffin III, all smiles, along with Jay Gruden.
It hasn't been the case during the course of the season all the time, but that's good to see right there because this has been a difficult situation, and it's good to see that they're able to get together like that and celebrate after that touchdown drive by Robert Griffin III. So we'll continue to watch this thing unfold. The drama continues at the Washington Redskin quarterback position.
Yes, the merry-go-round continues to go round and round. RG3 perfect during that drive. Perfect so far today. Redskins by 3.
Game is sponsored by Beats by Dr. Dre Solo 2. Show us your solo.
Colt McCoy, re-injured during the first quarter, replaced by Robert Griffin III, who led the 77-yard Redskins touchdown drive. Giants back to work from their 20. As Manning throws, there is a flag. Odell Beckham Jr. And now another flag is thrown.
Guys, number 50, Gabe Miller, left ankle questionable for return.
Thanks, Goose. Breland and Beckham have been going at it, Darryl, all game long.
Yeah. You pointed out the competitiveness at practice with Bashaud Breeland, and Odell Beckham Jr. is not going to back down from anybody. But you've got to maintain your emotions. Football is a very emotional game.
2 fouls on the play prior to the pass. Holding, number 26 of the defense. That penalty is declined after the play is over. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Taunting, number 26 of the defense. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Well, that's the second personal foul called on Breeland today.
And it's just the face-to-face right there. And it's something that the officials are looking for. They want to eliminate that from the game. The disrespect to the players. You cannot get face-to-face with somebody. It can be something very, very quick and brief, but they're going to flag that.
Breeland, the 4th-round pick out of Clemson, so he's cost his team 30 yards in penalties. Now Amerson matched up with Beckham. Bottom of your screen. This is Williams, and he is hit for a loss. Jarvis Jenkins leading the way.
And one of the things I expected to see from the Giant offense today, and maybe they're slipping into it right here, is a little bit more of a hurry-up style. You mentioned the fact that trying to create that advantage with their offensive line against the Redskin defensive line, wearing them out, getting them tired during the course of the game. One way to do that is this up-tempo style of offense that they're sliding into right now.
Saw coordinator Ben McAdoo. His first season with the Giants. Manning on 2nd and 12. It is Donnell, and he gets upended by E.J. Biggers at the 46-yard line, setting up 3rd down and 7.
And this is a tough job for E.J. Biggers because this is a big man coming across. That's well done. And that's what the NFL is trying to get to. You know, the shoulder through the thigh, you know, let's take the head out of play by rule, but just out of respect, you don't go near anybody's knees as a tackler. So that's well done by E.J. Biggers.
3 receivers set. Donnell slot to the right, 3rd down and 7. And Manning's pass is incomplete. Good coverage that time by Breeland on Ruben Randall.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't been able to say about the Redskins the last couple of weeks is good coverage, because in Indianapolis and then again last week, there were a lot of receivers running wide open in their secondary, but so far through the course of the game up until this point, the secondary for the Redskins has played well.
Well, they know each other so well, these two teams. The defensive backs know exactly what routes are going to be run, and they're just staying on them.
Weatherford's punt, end over end. And a fair catch is called for at the 8-yard line by Roberts. Goose talked about the familiarity. Here's LT. Longtime rivals, Giants, Redskins. Riggins into the end zone. Nice recovery by Bashaud Breeland following his second personal foul. Good coverage on Ruben Randall. Talking about it with his head coach. RG3 and the Redskins now start from their 9-yard line. The handoff to Morris. And Morris takes it out to the 14 for a gain of 5. You know, we mentioned with McCoy out, only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster today. Cousins inactive. We have not yet seen Robert Griffin III run with the football, perhaps as a precaution, because if he gets hurt, where do you go next?
Yeah, you're down to an emergency quarterback. Don't know right now if Colt McCoy would be able to come back onto the field and assume the duties of quarterback again. So one of those decisions that Jay Gruden's making as he's looking at his roster pregame, he decides to go with just 2 quarterbacks instead of activating all 3.
On second down, it's Morris. And Morris fights his way out to the 22-yard line for a Redskins first down. Robert Griffin III has had some big games on the ground against the Giants. 3 career starts against New York for RG3, and he's averaged 83 yards on the ground.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be one of those situations where maybe he doesn't call those types of plays to keep Robert Griffin III out of that situation where you could have an injury because, you know, with Colt McCoy and everything that happened, you know, maybe there was an opportunity to activate Kirk Cousins and keep 3 up. They shared practice reps early in the week, all 3 getting snaps with the first team.
Nice play on first down by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, breaking up the pass intended for Deshaun Jackson.
And now you can see why everybody had such respect for Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. That's Deshaun Jackson right there. Just look at the position step for step and the break on the ball. That's played about as well as you can play.
They know each other well, former teammates in Philadelphia. Rodgers-Cromartie spent 2 years with the Eagles. Last season, member of the Denver Broncos. That was first incompletion for Robert Griffin III, and there's the second, intended for Jackson again.
Just rushed the pass on that one. Those screens, that's one place you don't want to put the ball as high. Your receiver goes, tips that ball, gives opportunities for those corners, coverage guys to go and get a nice interception when that ball's up in the air. It can go either way.
Fans on their feet here at MetLife Stadium. 3rd down and 10. Bunch formation to the left. Redskins must get to the 32 for a first down. They just get the snap away. Now Griffin moving to his right under pressure from Mason Pierre-Paul. He throws it away. Or excuse me, Demontre Moore. With the pressure on Griffin, Redskins will punt it away.
Well, coming off that bunch formation to the left side, let's see what coverage looks like. You've got the middle of the field open right there. You've got 2. You've got Andre Roberts and Pierre Garçon breaking free into the middle. And there's Jordan Reed. Now he's going to be a little bit short, but give him an opportunity. That's the thing that gets Robert Griffin III in trouble.
Low snap. Way able to get the punt off. Taken by Odell Beckham Jr. at the 26. Nowhere to go. Terrific coverage downfield. So nothing on the return. Tress Way, who has had a terrific season punting for the Redskins.
Not just being able to go and pick the ball back up, but getting it off fast enough so you don't get an illegal man downfield. Remember, your guys are releasing on timing like that, so if your timing's thrown off at all, usually you see the flag, but did a nice job.
Not only that, but then gets off a heck of a punt.
Yeah, really nice. A little adrenaline behind that kick, huh, Darryl?
You look at Way's average this season in Redskin history, only Sammy Baugh has had better seasons punting the football than Tress Way. On first down, taken out to the 32-yard line by Andre Williams. Philip Thomas made the tackle. Williams able to gain 4 on first down.
I bet you threw more touchdown passes than Tress Way as well.
You think?
Yeah.
Colt McCoy chatting with Robert Griffin III.
Both of these offense today really conservative with their throws. Not really a big challenge or throw downfield by either one of these offenses to go and exploit this secondaries.
Kevin Ogletree, his second catch today. Longest pass of the day, Goose, for Eli Manning is 16 yards to Beckham. Giants now facing 3rd down and 1.
But that's what this offense is about. It's about the quick, short passing game. They want to increase the completion percentage for Eli Manning. They want to increase the quarterback rating for Eli Manning. They want to minimize the interceptions and sacks. So Ben McAdoo and his style of offense that he's brought in from Green Bay is kind of based on that foundation. You have opportunities during the course of the game. You'll get your shots during the course of the game, but primarily we're really trying to get the ball out quick, get it in the hands of our big playmakers on the outside and see what they can do.
Who gave Ben McAdoo his first opportunity in the NFL? It was the Redskins defensive coordinator, Jim Haslett, who hired McAdoo. Haslett, the head coach in New Orleans back in 2004. There's Jim. Mike McCarthy was Jim's offensive coordinator. He and McAdoo had worked together at the University of Pittsburgh. So McAdoo brought into New Orleans, went with McCarthy to San Francisco the next year, then to Green Bay, and the rest is history.
Well, they obviously shared their ideas on their cards during the course of the game.
Well, they both graduated from Indiana University in Pennsylvania, McAdoo and Haslett.
Ben's got a binder, though. He's got like 6 or 8 more pages, I think.
3rd down and 1. It's Hynoski, fullback.
That play is usually good once a game.
Once.
Not twice and a half?
No. Little play action off that might work out a little bit better, but we'll see if they get enough movement here for the Rhinoceros, or if he had to do it all on his own.
That official back there in the background didn't move very much, I'll tell you that. A lot of penetration as defensive linemen turning their shoulders. Not a lot of movement on that offensive line.
So Hynoski 1 for 2 today. Weatherford waiting back at his 23. Andre Roberts deep for the Redskins, backpedaling, lets it go. Well, the Redskins pinned deep once again with just under 3 minutes remaining, second quarter. Well, it's the last week to vote for the 2015 Pro Bowl. Select the best players regardless of conference. Then Chris Carter and your former teammate Michael Irvin will draft teams as alumni captains. Vote now at NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot. Voting ends on Monday night. So would you like to play for Michael Irvin?
I would.
Oh, there you go.
I think everybody would, most.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing alongside Michael Irvin, and it's all that passion and his love for the game. So absolutely, I would love the opportunity to have played for Michael Irvin.
You've always told us he worked as hard as anybody at practice.
More than anybody. I mean, it's April, and he's out there in shoulder pads and helmets catching passes because he never catches passes in shorts and a T-shirt on Sundays in the fall, so why practice it in April?
On first down, Morris found a hole. Alfred Morris, gain of 9 out to the 19-yard line.
I tell you what, if he doesn't get tripped up right here, right at the end of this run, just a little bit right there, that is trouble for Stevie Brown coming up to make that tackle.
That's another rhinoceros right there.
Second down and 1 for the Redskins, who lead 10-7. Here's Morris again. And he picks up a Redskin first down, tackled by Devon Kennard, the reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week, with his second consecutive 2-sack game as we wind down towards the 2-minute warning. Robert Griffin III replacing the injured Colt McCoy at quarterback late in the first quarter. Odell Beckham Jr. with the Giants touchdown. Washington by 3. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes remaining, second quarter. Robert Griffin III in for the injured Colt McCoy. Redskins with a 10-7 lead on the Giants. Sean Jackson in motion. Silas Redd in the backfield. On first down, off the fake to Redd. The pass is batted back. Kennard got a piece of it. We just mentioned Kennard, rookie out of USC, reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, coming off the end of the line, 2 consecutive games with 2 sacks, and there you see the athleticism, not only getting to the quarterback, but understanding, get in that throwing lane, elevate, try and knock that ball down.
His father, Derek, former teammate of yours in Dallas. In fact, Derek Kennard started at center in Super Bowl 30.
He did. Anchored that interior of the offensive line for us.
Second down and 10. Pass is caught by Silas Redd. Has running room, picks up a first down and more. He's finally dragged out of bounds by Antrell Roll. So Silas Redd able to gain 37 into Giants territory.
And right away, Antrell Roll and Quentin Demps, your 2 safeties, getting together to talk because they were both up inside in this situation. They left Silas Redd Jr. on the outside. There's nobody there.
A minute 46 remaining in the half. First and 10 from the Giants 41. Griffin with time throws to a wide open Andre Roberts. Another Washington first down. Knocked out of bounds by Stevie Brown. Griffin to Roberts for 20.
Yeah, just trusting what you're seeing out there. You're going to have the short route curl here, and then you're going to have the post in or the corner in behind it. Both guys drop down. The safety's late getting there. Jay Gruden was asked if he saw improvement from Robert Griffin III during his time while Colt McCoy was the starter, and he said nothing elaborate. You know, he's doing a lot of scout team stuff, but obviously during that time, you know, whether it's film study or what, you know, he's gotten better with his decision making so far.
From the Giants 21, this is Chris Thompson, who scored the Redskins touchdown, and Thompson takes it down to the 14-yard line as we hit a minute 25 remaining.
And just a nice rhythm, a nice flow to this drive. The 2 really nice drives that Washington has put together here in this first half. They've had that really nice rhythm and flow. It seems that they've been one step ahead of Perry Fuel and his defense.
Tell you, it must have been tough for Robert Griffin III just sitting back there and the media and everybody going after him. Now all of a sudden he gets an opportunity, and you can do 2 things when that stuff happens. You can either go and fold up and just say, listen, I give up, or you can come and compete. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's going out there today to prove everybody wrong and saying, hey, listen, I'm the starter. You made a mistake not going and bringing me in.
Redskins use their second timeout. A preview of what's coming up at halftime to Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll update you on all the teams fighting for the playoffs. The Steelers jump out to an early lead against the Falcons. The Texans D is giving Andrew Luck fits in Indy. And the Patriots look to avenge an early season loss to the Dolphins. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
All right, Kurt, we look forward to it. Washington Redskins on the move. Second down and 3 from the Giants 14. There's Colt McCoy. Listening into the play calls as Robert Griffin III has taken over for the injured McCoy. Led the Redskins on a touchdown drive earlier this quarter. He's completed 8 of 12 for 132 yards. Thompson in the backfield. Second down and 3. Griffin sets. Now throws. Looking for Andre Roberts.
Good coverage by the Giants on this. You're going to watch Andre Roberts move from right to left. Try to use that umpire to get a little bit of a rub, and everybody comes across clean. There he is again, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Now third and 3. 2 red zone possessions. 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. Griffin's pass is caught by Silas Redd. And Redd able to pick up a first down. Clock continues to run. Redskins have 1 timeout and the new set of downs.
A good, quick developing play call by Jay Gruden. You get Jordan Reed on the outside, one-on-one, run a little slant with him, and then slip the running back right into the flat area.
Redskins huddling up. They have only the 1 timeout.
Plenty of time, plenty of time.
Now down to 25 seconds. Now Griffin takes off. There is a flag. Movement prior to the snap as Griffin takes it down to the Giants 2.
I think Trent Williams held in there. This should be on the Giants.
Offside, number 90 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Coming from the left side.
As a defensive lineman, you're always trying to get a jump down there in the red zone, trying to bring the pressure.
Now, why wouldn't the Redskins take the result of the play?
I know, exactly.
Griffin took it down to the 2. They take the penalty half the distance, puts them at the 4. And now Griffin in trouble, down he goes. Back at the 8-yard line. Second sack today for the Giants, and the Redskins now use their final timeout.
Well, there's nowhere to go here on this play. We've talked about the quick developing plays. It looks like the same play they ran earlier with Silas Ray Jr. going out but not going to the flat this time. But the Giants defense collapsing the pocket.
Jonathan Hankins and Demontre Moore combining on the sack. So now the Redskins down to 12 seconds remaining out of timeouts.
Now there's not a lot of time, Darryl.
Yeah, but right now, you kind of look at it is, because of how close they are right now, it's about a 6-second. So you do your first play, and it's into the end zone, obviously, so it's either a touchdown or it's incomplete. You don't want to put anything short and force a tackle inbounds so that clock runs out. So you've got the potential for 2 plays right here if you execute quickly. So you could go 2nd down, 3rd down, kick on 4th down.
Three receivers to the right. Griffin throws to the end zone, broken up and nearly picked off by Roll. Pass intended for the tight end, Jordan Reed.
Played very well by Antrell Roll. It's one-on-one on the outside. Your big tight end just fades a little bit. Look at how he cuts underneath. Jordan Reed cannot allow that to happen. He's got to see the trajectory of the ball and adjust to it. He cannot allow Antrell Roll to get in front of him on that situation.
That play took 4 seconds. Now 3rd and goal, and you still wonder why the Redskins did not decline the penalty moments ago. Play clock at 2. Griffin moving to his right, looking end zone. He's inside the 10, the 5. He dodged for the pylon, and he's in. Touchdown.
We'll take a look at this. All scoring plays are reviewed, and this is an all or nothing for Robert Griffin III. He sneaks up under center, takes the snap. He's got nowhere to go, and now he's committed. I'm either in or we're losing points off the board right now.
And his leg hit the pylon, so that ball is going to be inside. It's going to be a touchdown, guys.
Now time ran all the way down, so if not, Redskins would not have the opportunity for a field goal, but it does look like a touchdown to us.
Yeah, if you see his leg and then the
We're
ball
reviewing the
also
previous
hits the
play.
end zone.
Jeff Triplett will take a look.
After review, the runner lost possession of the football prior to crossing the goal line. When he regains possession, he must control it throughout the process of going to the ground. He did not. It is a fumble forward out of bounds in the end zone. It is a touchback. The half is over.
So no touchdown as Griffin lost possession of the football. As you heard from Jeff Triplett, Redskins cannot believe it. Jay Gruden out on the field, arguing with the referee, Jeff Triplett.
And all these players have to back down. That's exactly right. Santana Moss has probably just been ejected from the game. Pierre Garçon is now on the verge of getting ejected from the game. As the head coach, you better get your players together and get them into the locker room. You're not going to be able to suit up at wide receiver in the second half.
We had a look at replays during the commercial, and it certainly looked to us like this is the right call.
Yeah, the big thing, I hope everybody at home saw that ball. Robert Griffin III lost possession of the ball when it was extended. That was the one thing that started that whole process back to the beginning.
And he maintained control of the football. Would have been a touchdown as he made contact with the pylon. Santana Moss lost his cool. There's Gruden on the left, Triplett on the right. Moss, 89. Triplett throws the flag, and then Pierre Garçon, 88 in there as well. Another flag thrown by the field judge, Alex Kemp, as we bring in Mike Pereira from Los Angeles. Mike, what did you see on that play?
Number 89.
Yeah, it's an unusual instance, but
he is
here,
also
as we listen to Jeff Triplett.
him for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, Moss ejected. That was the announcement for Triplett, Mike.
Let's go back to the play here. Okay, once the ball comes loose, now he has to repossess it. And in order to repossess it, it's just like catching a pass. You're going to the ground. You have to hold on to the ball when you hit the ground, or it's not a catch. And it's the same situation here with the fumble.
All right, thanks, Mike. So no touchdown. Redskins lead at the half by the score of 10-7. We will return to MetLife Stadium right after these messages. What a turn of events. No touchdown for the Redskins. 10-7 lead for the Redskins. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. A lot of excitement at the end of the first half. Robert Griffin III replaced Colt McCoy, goes 9 for 15. But in case you went out to get popcorn or potato chips right when it looked as if RG3 crossed the plane, well, it is still 10-7. And there were 2 penalties.
On Washington, number 89. Both penalties are enforced on the kickoff.
Santana Moss flagged for 2 penalties, ejected. So look where Josh Brown will kick off from to start the second half.
Yeah, and you could be in a big position right here where you had the touchdown taken away at the end of the first half, so Washington could have been up 17-7. The Giants come out here, execute an onside kick. In this scenario right here, now they've got possession of the ball again in your red zone almost.
Washington sends out their hands team. How often do you see this at the start of the second half? The onside kick by Brown. Adrian Robinson had a shot at it. Stevie Brown as well. It's Giants ball. Chandler Fenner at the bottom of the pile recovers the onside kick to start the second half.
And what a disastrous couple of seconds at the end of the first half, and now at the start of the second half for the Washington Redskins. Credit to New York Giants. This is executed fantastic. Adrian Robertson, number 81, the first guy to make contact with the ball, keeps it alive right there, almost gets it himself.
You saw Fenner crawling. Chandler Fenner with the recovery. So instead of a 10-point Redskin lead and Washington with the football, it remains a 3-point game. First and 10 Giants from the Washington 17. Manning throws, complete to Odell Beckham Jr., who gains 4 down to the 13-yard line.
We mentioned in the first half, this is an emotional game. You have to play it with passion, but you have to control those emotions as well. And Santana Moss, you can't even defend what happened at the end of that first half. Put his team in a very, very difficult situation to start the second half.
Second and 6 from the 13. Manning stands in the pocket, now moving to his left. He throws, and on his knees, Beckham able to make the catch at the Washington 9.
I don't know why Eli Manning did not take Andre Williams early in his progression. Had him outflanked to the right flat area. You see Trent Murphy, he's run out underneath Odell Beckham Jr., but then loses track of him. But watch number 44 as he swings out to the right. Kind of dropped right there. Had an opportunity to let your running back catch and run with it after the catch.
Third down and 2. And the play is blown dead.
Everybody move with the ball on that one.
Red zone penalties.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And you get yourself all the way down. A very, very manageable, very makeable third down situation here.
Guys, I got a chance to talk to Jay Gruden. He didn't even know that Santana Moss was ejected from the game until I talked to him on the field. That was news to him, and he thought that he did not know that they lost control before going into the end zone, RG3. So he was really vague on knowing all the information about exactly what happened, but he said it's no excuse for his team. They should not be acting like that. Jeff Triplett also with the 2 penalties. One was for unsportsmanlike conduct for bad language, and the other one was going after an official, and that's what Santana Moss was ejected for.
All right, thanks, Goose. Manning's pass on 3rd and 7. Deflected, incomplete. Giants send out the field goal unit.
Well, credit Washington's defense for kind of hunkering down right here and holding the Giants to a field goal attempt. Perry Riley Jr. almost taking that opportunity away with an interception right there. Good break on the ball.
Pass intended for Preston Parker, so a 32-yard attempt. Josh Brown 5 for 5 last week against Tennessee. From the left hash. Brown's kick is straight through, so the Giants capitalize following the onside kick to start the half, tied at 10.
Game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Wild last half hour or so here at MetLife Stadium as the Redskins thought they took a 10-point lead. Touchdown was taken away in review. 2 penalties called on Santana Moss. Onside kick by the Giants to start the half. And they kick a field goal. Tie the game at 10. Now Brown kicking off from the usual spot. His own 35-yard line. Taken out by Roberts. And Andre Roberts got across the 25 to the 28. Chandler Fenner forced him out.
All right, let's go back and take a look at that play at the end of the half, because if Michael Strahan doesn't understand it, we have to explain it. Great hustle by Jason Pierre-Paul. The little bump on the arm right there is Robert Griffin III is going to possess the ball. Now, he lost possession of the ball. If he didn't lose possession of the ball, all he has to do is break the plane, and it's a touchdown. But because of the hustle by Jason Pierre-Paul that causes him to lose possession of the ball, now it becomes the process of the catch. He did not reestablish possession until he was out of bounds. It is no touchdown. How's that, Michael?
Sounded good to me, Darryl. Great job, brother.
And Jimmy Johnson gave RG3 credit for a rushing touchdown during the Visa halftime report. Alfred Morris on first down out to the 33. In case you joined us late, Colt McCoy started the game at quarterback for the Redskins. Re-aggravated the neck injury, replaced by RG3. Led the Redskins on a touchdown drive early in the second quarter, and then on what appeared to be yet another touchdown drive late. But it was reversed in replay. Now on 2nd and 6. Griffin fends off one defender, roll, stays in bounds, and takes it all the way to the Giants' 42-yard line. 25 yards for Robert Griffin III.
And you've got to take your shots down the field, and a lot of times that happens on play-action pass, and it's a 2-person route, and that's what that situation was. So there was nowhere for Robert Griffin III to go with the ball once they had those 2 covered. That's not a face mask because he doesn't grab and twist. He just pushes them away, so there's no flag there. And now we see the athleticism of Robert Griffin III.
Ball spotted back at the 44, so a 23-yard run, his longest of the season. Now the handoff to Alfred Morris, and he runs into the arms of Mark Hersling. No gain on the play.
Hey, guys, I also talked to Jay Gruden with Colt McCoy down, Robert Griffin in. If Robert Griffin III does get injured, Colt McCoy will go back in. But if he couldn't, Darrell Young, the fullback, he will be the 3rd quarterback for the team today.
All right, thanks, Goose. With Kirk Cousins inactive. And McCoy on the sidelines. Young is the fullback, number 36. Off the fake to Morris. Griffin on 2nd and 10. Down the sidelines to the 40 for a gain of 4 as he was chased by Kerry Wynn, the rookie out of Richmond, number 72 on the Giants defensive line.
That's a nice job by the Giant defenders, understanding the design of that play. It's a bootleg pass. Okay, let me turn around and find out where the tiers are coming from. That means where's the short guy? Where's the middle receiver coming from? That was Deshaun Jackson. They spun around, they picked him up, located him, and had everything covered.
Third down and 6. Redskins must get to the 34 for a first down. Griffin had some trouble with the snap. Dumps it off to Thompson. And he is stopped short. Quentin Depps making the tackle. Bringing down Chris Thompson, who scored his first NFL touchdown earlier today.
Yeah, it saved them, but it looks like the Redskins are going to go for it on 4th down right here. Good tackle by Quentin Depps, holding on right there. Good effort by Chris Thompson to get him close. And now Jay Gruden is keeping his offense on the field. 2 weeks ago, critical 4th down decision against the Colts backfired. Sack, fumble, touchdown Colts. Last week, a 4th down fake punt didn't work for him. Let's try it our 3rd week in a row.
Play clock at 2. Redskins get the snap away on 4th down and 2, and now the play is blown dead. A timeout was taken from the sidelines.
Washington, it's a 30-second timeout.
Redskins use their first timeout of the half. So Jay Gruden with a minute to think about the upcoming play call as we take you back to the dive by Robert Griffin III, but he had lost possession of the football. Santana Moss argues. He's flagged twice, ejected by referee Jeff Triplett. And then the Giants kicking off from the Redskins 35, onside kick, recovered by Fenner. And that led to a Giants field goal. So we are tied at 10. Colt McCoy left the game in the first quarter. Robert Griffin III has played well in relief. Giants only 95 total yards, yet they find themselves in a 10-10 game with the Redskins going for it here on 4th down. And you just thought it would be another home on Sunday.
Never is, never is.
You never know what's going to happen when the NFC East gets together.
On 4th and 2, Griffin in trouble. Down he goes. Ball comes loose. It doesn't matter. It was 4th down. So the Giants will take over.
Surprised the Giants didn't get called for a face mask on that one.
3rd sack of Robert Griffin III today. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Today's game is sponsored by The Interview in theaters Christmas.
Back at MetLife, tied at 10, as we welcome you into the broadcast booth. So, the craziness at the end of the first half, the onside kick to start the second. What's next?
I have no idea. I mean, it's great when you have these divisional games, and you know they do know each other so well. And then you take the emotion that's involved in that. We saw Santana Moss let his emotions get the better of him at the end of the half, and now the 4th down situation for the 3rd consecutive game. A questionable 4th down decision by Jay Gruden.
So the Giants take over following the sack. Jason Pierre-Paul and Devon Kennard each getting credit for a half sack on the play. And now Manning on 1st down. Fires downfield, and there is a flag as Beckham and Breland continue to go at it.
At the top of your screen, number 13. Going up against Bashaw Breeland right there, the double move. There's the illegal contact.
Now Jeff Triplett getting together with his crew.
Pass interference, defense number 26. Ball he placed in the spot of the foul, 1st down.
That's Breland's 3rd penalty, 2 personal fouls earlier. You know, we talked to Harry Carson, the Hall of Fame Giant linebacker, before the game. Asked him about Beckham. He said, in his opinion, Odell Beckham Jr. has brought the same presence to the Giants offense that Lawrence Taylor did for the defense back when Harry played.
That's an incredible compliment from Harry Carson.
17 yards on the penalty. Now the handoff to Andre Williams as we head for a game break to Los Angeles and Joel Klatt. Joel?
Hey, Kenny, we head up to New England. The AFC East can be won today. The Patriots trying to win it with a win over Miami. 21-13 after this LeGarrette Blount touchdown, 3 yards out, third TD with New England. 21-13 Patriots. Kenny, Moose and Goose.
All right, thanks very much, Joel. Patriots unbeaten at home this year, 6-0. Beckham in motion, second down and 9. Off the fake, here comes Kerrigan. 12.5 sacks on the season for Ryan Kerrigan.
Coming off the top of your screen, don't know if it was the blocking scheme, but he's one of those guys at 11 and a half coming in. You got to know where he is. That's a lot to ask from Henry Hynoski to actually start flow away, come underneath your quarterback, and be in a position to get back to the backside tight end to protect your quarterback. So good call by Jim Haslett in that situation to have Ryan Kerrigan coming free to the quarterback.
Third down and 21 following the sack. Batting on the check down, it's Williams. And we spoke to Ryan Kerrigan yesterday, and the Redskins defense has held the Giants up until this point to exactly 100 yards, and it was well documented during the week, the comments by former Redskin linebacker London Fletcher about the Redskins coordinator Jim Haslett. And Kerrigan said, you know what, tomorrow would be a great time for us to put a good performance together for Coach Haslett.
Yeah, not only Ryan Kerrigan, Perry Riley Jr., Jarvis Jenkins, three guys that took up for Jim Haslett in that situation.
They're playing hard for him today. I got to say, that defense really impressing me. I thought that we were going to see some guys that quit out there and not give him 100%, but he has motivated this defense and has them really rolling right now, and it seems like they're playing for him.
Ryan Kerrigan telling us that we trust Jim's system. Will Compton is the injured Redskin, number 51, started the game today for the injured Keenan Robinson. Compton wearing the communication device in his helmet.
Yeah, and you've got two young guys that were just picked up this week, Trevardo Williams and Jagarrett Davis, who would have to come in for Will Compton in that situation. As you pointed out, also the communication to Jim Haslett, your coordinator, on the sideline.
As Goose mentioned earlier, Gabe Miller, another backup linebacker, injured back in the first half. So now Compton will exit as the Giants get set up to punt. With just under 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And we talked about Fletcher and Haslett, Breland and Roberts in practice, Steve Weatherford, the Giants punter, and Tom Quinn, the special teams coach, on the sidelines last week. But
nobody's immune from controversy, Katie, when you have a season that doesn't go quite the way you expected, and you're in the month of December.
Weatherford set up at his 40-high snap. Gets the punt off. He's never had one blocked. He's had a punt deflected, but never a full block. And it's Zach Bowman downfield for the Giants, pinning the Redskins deep. Long-time rivals. Tied at 10.
His Game on Fox is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now.
Tied at 10 at MetLife, midway through the third quarter. What's going on downstairs, Goose?
Now they get a good view right here. About 15 yards behind this offense. Feel like I'm in the game here, Kenny.
Lost the fourth drive out of 7. Redskins start at their own 10 or worse as Kerry Wynn comes up to wrap up Alfred Morris.
As one of the things that Washington felt they had to do today, they had to be able to get this outside zone going, and there is Alfred Morris going back inside, and they talked about their game against St. Louis last week, and opportunities for plays to be made, they wouldn't have it blocked right. Then opportunities for plays to be made, and it wasn't read right by the running back. So critical for the Redskins to get this run game moving right now.
2nd and 10. Griffin from the end zone throws, and the catch is made at the 10-yard line by Garcon. Shockey Brown makes the tackle, so the Redskins now facing a 3rd down and 6.
And we talk about momentum in the NFL, and it's so amazing to see the Giants steal that momentum so quickly with everything that happened at the end of the first half, and the start here of the second half absolutely stole everything away from the Redskins.
Redskins, who appeared to take a 17-7 lead before the touchdown was reversed. Tied at 10, 3rd down and 6. Griffin fires over the middle, and the catch is made by Roberts. Andre Roberts across midfield, and he is finally caught and tackled by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. So on 3rd down and 6 from deep in their own territory, Griffin to Roberts for 61 yards.
And what a great pickup by Darrell Young, the fullback. They're going to leave him in on 3rd down for pass protection. Now you can see why. Absolutely stones Jameel McClain. Antro roll, poor angle on that play right there. Could have kept a 14-yard gain. Still a 1st down, but just a 14-yard gain comes on a bad angle, and Andre Roberts spins outside and breaks away.
Chased down by his former teammate in Arizona, Rodgers-Cromartie. From the 28, off the fake to Morris. Griffin can't find anyone, and he takes it out of bounds, and he's hit late by Roll. So Antro Roll will be flagged for a late hit out of bounds.
And in that situation, as a defender, you just stay away. The quarterback's running out of bounds.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 26 in the defense. After the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
Now, Robert Griffin III had both feet out of bounds. Just run by him. Don't even put your hands on him.
Well, Tom Coughlin not happy during the week following a penalty that was called in the Tennessee game, a celebration with Rodgers-Cromartie and Roll, and he will not be happy about this one.
Well, we just talked about the fact that the Giants had stolen the momentum away from the Redskins.
Yep.
Well done by Robert Griffin III and his offense, taking it right back.
1st and goal from the 8, the handoff to Morris, and he gets swallowed up.
Good job on that running play. When you're talking about a zone blocking scheme, which is you're not really blocking a man as much as you are an area, and you're kind of moving in coordination as an offensive line. The Giants defensive line did a great job there of just forcing everything to the sideline, clogging up every single area. Alfred Morris had nowhere to cut back to the inside.
From the 11 on 2nd down. Griffin looking, and now he throws it through the back of the end zone, and he took a hit. He was under pressure. Combination of Pierre-Paul and Wynn.
And you can see him kind of shaking it off right there. And we've got to have a check down for Robert Griffin III in these situations. I don't know if Alfred Morris got tied up in pass protection helping out, but right there, Jason Pierre-Paul breaks off and gets the hit on him.
Now 3rd and goal from the 11. Griffin on 3rd down, backpedaling, down he goes. Back at the 21-yard line. Again, the pressure from the Giants front. Jason Pierre-Paul slow to get up.
Well, Jason Pierre-Paul, if you watch him on the left side here, he goes, comes upfield, gets tripped down on his hands and knees and just keeps coming. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Well, Chris Thompson is a young guy. If you're releasing to Jason Pierre-Paul's side, you're doing it for a reason. That's to give your tackle a chip. He didn't run close enough and alter the course of Jason Pierre-Paul to the quarterback. He could have bumped him and slowed his pass rush up on his release.
4th sack for the Giants today. Kai Forbath able to connect from 38. So the Redskins back on top. Set up by this 61-yard connection from Robert Griffin III to Andre Roberts. Redskins by 3. There's Andre Roberts, 61-yard reception, helping set up the Redskin go-ahead field goal. Redskins lead by 3. They've outgained the Giants 361 yards to 101. Yet, it's a 3-point game. Preston Parker. Parker stopped shy of the 20 by Trevardo Williams. Giants back on offense. Late third quarter. 3-point Redskins lead over the Giants. Eli Manning 12 of 20 today. Touchdown pass to Odell Beckham Jr. Giants struggling to run the football. Only 17 yards on the ground, and this is the Giants' worst starting field position today. As Williams gains a couple, Perry Riley Jr. in on the tackle. We've talked about this Redskins defense. They've played well. They've limited the Giants to just 103 total yards. A defense that is ranked 10th in the league coming in, yet the Redskins just 3-10.
Yeah, but one of the big things we've seen the last couple of weeks on this Redskins defense is receivers running free in the secondary. They've got that shored up during their preparation this week, or the Giants just haven't been able to take advantage or tested them.
On 2nd and 8, Manning throws, and a catch is made by the tight end, Daniel Fells, for a Giants first down. 16-yard pass play.
And one of the guys who's doing a nice job this afternoon is Phillip Thomas, your safety number 41. You see him down there in the box, kind of playing his position, and then he's going to recognize Daniel Fells comes back in to be a part of that tackle along with Ryan Clark.
16 yards, that matches Manning's longest completion of the game. From the 37 on first down. Manning fires downfield. Beckham, the intended receiver, and there is a flag. Guess who on the coverage? Breland yet again.
Well, this is just a situation of what the play happened, Kenny. I'm going to take a look and see how Bashaud Breeland did in this coverage, because he's stride for stride with Odell Beckham Jr.
26 to the defense. Ball we place the spot of the foul. First down.
We see so many times when the defender does not get his head back around, and that really becomes the main reason he gets the pass interference called on him.
That is Breeland's 4th penalty today. 2 personal fouls, and then a 17-yard penalty and a 23-yard penalty, total of 70 yards. Giants have 119 yards on offense and 70 yards thanks to Breeland. Manning to the near side. It's Ogletree, and he's tackled by David Amerson.
Well, you can look at it from that perspective, Kenny, or also the Redskins have 361 total yards, and we'll subtract just his 70 yards right there. You want to take the full 115 in penalties by the Washington Redskins. That's been their problem. They've moved the ball, but they have so many negative plays. Sacks, penalties, different ways that they're losing yards.
2nd down and 5 from the Washington 35.
I think we're going to have to give Eli Manning a ton of credit on this one, and not because of the throw, but because of his vision, his eyes. I think he really took the secondary of the Redskins out to their left. Watch Eli. Let's see if he gives a hard stare to the right before he unleashes this thing to Odell Beckham Jr. He's hard right, and then boom, here I come right back in. There was a lot of flow by that secondary, watching Eli's eyes to the outside. There they are right there. And here comes Odell Beckham Jr. What a nice play design and execution by the Giants.
How about that extra gear he has after he catches that ball, Beckham? Woof.
Giants have the lead. Second time Manning and Beckham Jr. have connected today for a Giants touchdown. We were meeting with Odell Beckham Jr. on Friday. Eli Manning walks in, and he gave him kind of this weird handshake. And I said to Eli, is that the secret Newman High School handshake from down in New Orleans? And
They got really quiet after that.
He looked at us and smiled.
Yeah.
Must have been.
I think it was.
11 years apart. We asked Odell, is there Manning paraphernalia everywhere you go?
He said you couldn't get away from it, right? Whether you walk down the hall, whether you're out front, the stadium, everywhere is a Manning name.
Yeah, he's got a jersey in the Hall of Fame, but not one at Newman High School.
Following his touchdown catch against Dallas. Since November 1st, Odell Beckham Jr., and these are not ranks among rookies leading up to the game today. These are ranks amongst everybody in the league. Most receptions, most yards after the catch, and the most first downs.
Yeah, and again, that didn't take into account today's numbers, so look what he's added to that.
And with those 75 yards, he sets a franchise rookie record. He needed 66 to surpass Jeremy Shockey, most receiving yards by a Giants rookie in one season.
And Harry Carson saw it all before it even happened.
And remember, the Giants lost Victor Cruz back in October. Beckham missed the first 4 games. They only played together 1 full game. As Griffin hits Darrell Young out of the backfield, and he is forced out of bounds by Stevie Brown. What an athlete. Every teammate and coach we spoke to, they talked about Beckham's athleticism, whether it's football, basketball, soccer. He started playing soccer at the age of 3.
Had to make a tough decision early on. I mean, he was so good. There was an opportunity for him to become a member of the national team, but he would have had to commit too much to that and not been able to play football.
On 2nd and 8, it is Jason Pierre-Paul who brings down Alfred Morris. He told us that he would go out to his high school soccer field, and he said he lined up, 90 yards away? And he said, I bent it into the upper corner. He's the original bend it like Beckham.
Not 90, Kenny. Now the story's getting away. Now it's becoming a fishing tale.
200.
That's a heck of a kick right there. He said he was definitely outside the 18-yard box, and he put it up in the top corner.
And he said in order to excel, you got to go live over in Europe, and that's something that he didn't want to do. He wanted to stay here in the U.S.
Having fun at East Rutherford. 3rd down and 7. This is Reed. Bounces off. One tackle, and then he's brought down.
Got to bring your arms with that tackle, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Good job making up for it afterwards.
He's probably tried it from 90 feet out. 3rd quarter comes to an end. Giants by 4. Welcome back, 4th quarter. Giants with a 4-point lead. Redskins thought they went ahead by 10 as the first half came to an end. Following the review, touchdown was reversed. Giants with the lead on the football. Here's Beckham Jr. on the return. And he takes a late hit from the long snapper. On special teams, Nick Sundberg.
That's not even close. He's outside the white when he hits him. I mean, they make it so difficult on themselves, whether they're giving up field position, creating field position.
It's the long snapper, number 57, Nick Sundberg, with the late hit.
Look at the heater back there. You're so lucky that somebody doesn't get hurt seriously going into that heater. That's why these rules are in place.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 57 in the kicking team. 15 yards added at the end of the play, 1st down.
That is the 5th personal foul committed by the Redskins.
That's where it's all going. That's where all your effort's going. Everything you've done positive on offense and defense. Your defense is doing a nice job. You've held the New York Giants to a total of 159. You've got 366, and you're giving 130 up in penalties.
Giants start from the 46 following the penalty. It's Andre Williams taking it across midfield into Redskins territory, gain of 5.
And how many players did we talk to during the course of our visit with them in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, our visit with them this weekend? We've got to stop beating ourselves. We're putting ourselves in position to win football games, and we continue to make the critical mistakes that beat ourselves.
2nd down and 5 for the Giants. Beckham. On the wide receiver screen. He picks up a first down. Giants look to get the ball into his hands any way they can.
And that's been the great thing about his ability to grasp this playbook. And everybody's learning it together at the same pace. It's Ben McAdoo's first season here as the offensive coordinator, but as a young guy, you start out in one position and you learn that. And now they've been able to take Odell Beckham Jr. and move him throughout the formation. Different spots at wide receiver, bring him into the backfield. That's been the most impressive thing.
Split wide to the left. On first down. Here's Williams. And you talk about Beckham's athleticism and where does it come from? His dad was a football player at LSU. In fact, he was a roommate of Shaquille O'Neal, who is Beckham's godfather. And his mom was a track star at LSU, and she went on to coach track at Rice and Georgia Tech and Tulane. She's now the head track coach at Nicholls State. And she recently ran the New York Marathon.
What would it be like to be Shaq being your godfather?
Not only that, he had dinner with LeBron a couple of weeks ago here in the New York area as Williams takes it to the 30-yard line of the Redskins. Early fourth quarter with the Giants leading Washington by 4.
And got some great advice from LeBron James, who Coach Tom Coughlin was very glad to hear. Make sure you take care of your business on the field, Odell Beckham Jr., because it doesn't matter if you're not performing on the court, on the field. If you continue to master that part of your craft, there'll be opportunities for you. So good piece of advice from a very successful person.
Now third down and 3. Manning steps up, fires downfield, Beckham in the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown! His third today! There is a flag.
Holding number 67 in the offense. 10-yard penalty, still third down.
So the right tackle, Justin Pugh, is called for the hold.
Working against Ryan Kerrigan.
Well, we talked about this secondary going and letting guys run free. Beckham's one of the few guys you don't want to be running free in your secondary, but it looks like he landed on that elbow or the arm right after the catch.
So Beckham to the sidelines, replaced by Ogletree, who is matched up with Breland. Parker in the slot to the right, third down and 13. Manning fires, and it's Ruben Randall. Looks to be just shy of the marker. For Randall, it's his first catch today. Beckham's teammate at LSU and now with the Giants.
I'm all right. Let me get back in there. Could be a fourth down play. I can help out.
Scratch.
There he comes.
That's a guy who wants to compete. A little banged up. Not banged up enough to keep me off the field, coach.
They're going to be surprised if the Giants get this off in time. We're down to 10 seconds on the play clock right here. Rushing it on fourth down.
Play clock at 5. And Tom Coughlin running downfield to call a timeout.
Yeah, I like that decision. You're kind of hesitating a little bit whether you're going to go for it. It doesn't look right. Just call the timeout and get it all straightened out.
Beckham back on the field after this catch, which was taken away due to the penalty. We take it back to week 12 against Dallas. The catch.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen of the sporting world, let us introduce you to Odell Beckham Jr. That's when everybody really started to hear about him, was after that catch, and had 200-yard games prior to that, but not a lot of noise out there until that great catch against Dallas.
Beckham comes in motion into the backfield. The toss to Odell Beckham Jr. on 4th and 1. And he appears to be stopped short. Stephen Bowen comes up to make the tackle for the Redskins defense on 4th down. So Washington will take over as they stop Beckham on 4th and 1. Redskins offense back on the field after stopping the Giants on 4th down. RG3 has thrown for over 200 yards. Bar is 50 on the ground. And Roberts with that big 61-yard reception, setting up the last Redskins field goal. From the 28 on 1st down. Griffin fires downfield. And he overthrows Deshaun Jackson.
Guys, number 71, Trent Williams, left shoulder with a strain. He's questionable. Obviously, he's not in there right now.
And trying to get a shot down the field with Deshaun Jackson, who was out last week. You can see not quite the speed he has. He's still not 100%, but let's test him. Let's see what they've got down the field. And that injury to Trent Williams, with him being out of the lineup right now, that means Jason Pierre-Paul is going up against one of your backups.
Well, Tom Compton moves over to the left side, and Tyler Palundas comes in at right tackle. On 2nd and 10, this is Thompson, Chris Thompson, out to the 34-yard line. Montre Moore, the tackle.
I think that there's a bright spot right there for the Redskin offense today. Jake Gruden wanted to find out about Chris Thompson. You know, talked about him performing well at practice, wanted to give him a shot down the stretch as the season has wound down, and he's taken advantage of it this afternoon.
Gruden telling us he had a good preseason and suffered through some injuries the last 2 years. For the Redskins touchdown back in the 1st quarter. Griffin stumbling down at the 35-yard line.
A little bit of pressure on this protection because he's got Jordan Reed out in the flat for the 1st down, but he's got to step up. He's looking right at the beginning, and then the play breaks down. And Robert Griffin III is slow coming off the field.
On the tackle by Moore.
It looked like he was grimacing before he even hit the ground.
Goose mentioned earlier. Go back in. Press Wade punting from his 25-yard line. And it's taken on the run by Beckham. Out of bounds and a flag. Flag at the end of the return. As RG3 limped off to the Washington sidelines.
During the return, illegal blocking the back. Number 81 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's Adrian Robinson. Giants with the football, leading by 4.
This game is sponsored by Walmart, where you'll find unbeatable prices on this year's top gifts.
Goose is dressed to do some ice skating today.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know what he's dressed for.
Me neither. I'm dressed for the weather.
Giants back in offense as we head to Los Angeles for a game break. Joel Klatt. Joel?
Kenny, it has been a rough day in Cleveland for Johnny Football in his first career NFL start. 9 of 17, 71 yards, 2 interceptions, and 3 sacks. Cleveland has 5 first downs. 2 of them were by penalty. It's 23-0 Bengals. Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
All right, thanks, Joel. Johnny Manziel replacing Brian Hoyer, having a rough day at the office as Andre Williams takes it out to the 33-yard line. 98 total yards so far today for the Cleveland Browns. Browns at 7-6. Cincinnati at 8-4-1. Everybody over 500 in the AFC North.
And just look at the divisional records. They're beating each other up during the course of the year, too. And who's the most popular guy on a football team, Kenny? The backup quarterback? Johnny Manziel finding out it's a little bit harder when you're the starter.
118, what's it?
There's Williams again. And when you talk about the quarterback position amongst these two teams, an Eli Manning streak of 165 consecutive starts. To put it in perspective, Redskins have used 10 different starting quarterbacks during Manning's streak. And the longest Washington streak for a quarterback, Since Manning took over the helm here in New York, Jason Campbell, 32 consecutive starts. It's amazing. But RG3 has played well today.
He has. He's taken advantage of the opportunity. And that's what you have to do. When you're the number 2 quarterback, you never know when your number is going to be called.
Second down and 8. Manning off the pump fake, connects with Beckham for a Giants first down.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm so impressed with the fact that Eli Manning has this streak, because watch him on this play. There's good coverage. There's a little bump that makes him have to hold this ball a little bit, but he hangs in there, and he just always seems to get hit, and big guys falling down on top of him. And, you know, a lot of times it's just the pile shifting the wrong way, and all of a sudden there's something that happens, and you're out for a week, you're out for a season. And Eli Manning has just been an Iron Man throughout his career.
Since 9th grade, right, Kenny? He's been Iron Man.
That's what he told us. Now Manning rolling right, directing traffic. And that pass in the vicinity of Andre Williams. Eli Manning, third on the all-time list. Brett Favre, 297 consecutive starts. Brother Peyton, 208. By the way, Archie's longest streak, 54 consecutive starts.
Not in the genes?
Well, it is now. Brett would tell you it's in the genes as well. That's true. Second and 10. Beckham. In Redskins territory, Eli took another hit. Oof.
I remember talking to Mike Martz one time. He said one of the most important things is courage in the pocket. And it's something that quarterbacks just have. You can't teach it. You can't really watch it develop. You either got it or you don't. And Eli Manning definitely has it.
And for Beckham, it is his 5th 100-yard game. Flag down as Beckham makes the catch. Redskins may have had 12 men on the field.
Yeah, it looked like that, Kenny. I don't think he got off.
Too many men. Defense, number 92. That penalty's declined. The result of the play is a first down.
It's Chris Baker. It's tough when you get them big men. You want to go and make changes. It's got to come all the way from the other side. The neat thing is Eli. If you watched Eli, he looked over and he tried to get a quicker count to catch the 12 men and get a free play on that.
And remember, you must get all the way off. Think back to the Giants-Patriots Super Bowl following the 2007 season. Key point of the game. So the play stands. A 21-yard reception by Beckham. And now Manning throws it away. And another flag is thrown.
Holding, number 7 in the offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's on the left guard. The rookie out of Colorado State, Weston Richburg.
He's going to be your left guard, number 70. Working against Stephen Bowen. And it's just getting anchored down. You got to get that body set. Stephen Bowen coming at him with the bull rush, pushing him back.
By the way, we mentioned Beckham over 100 yards. It extends his streak of 90-yard games to 7 straight. The NFL record is 9 by your former teammate Michael Irvin. First down and 20 following the penalty. Giants with a 4-point lead on the Redskins. As Manning dumps it off, and then the question is, did Williams have possession? It's ruled an incomplete pass.
Eli said he's been hit enough. I'm going to give it to Andre Williams on this one. See how he does.
Jeff Bergman, the line judge, making the call immediately. Williams did not have possession in time to make a football move. The hit by Perry Riley Jr. How about Andre Williams? Only 10 receptions during his collegiate career, but led the nation in rushing last season. It's Beckham again. He makes the catch. And is down at the 24-yard line.
You just got to throw it in the vicinity for him to catch it.
He's got an unbelievable radius.
Looks like just snatching this right out of the air.
And it's not like if somebody hits him or makes contact with him. Once it's to that point right there, it's virtually a catch. I mean, it's just the strength at the point of the catch, so impressive.
Third down and 8 from the 24. Manning throws across the field, and the catch is made for a first down, taken to the 7 by Ruben Randall.
Unbelievable throw by Eli Manning across his body on this one, Darryl.
Yeah, and Ruben Randall knows he's going to get hit, so this is well done to finish this play as he comes into the middle of the field. Eli buys a little time, throws back into the middle of the field. You know, kind of some of those rules that you don't want your young quarterbacks doing. And able to get away with it, and then just a great job finishing the catch by Ruben Randall.
Good coverage on that also.
First and goal from the 6. Play clock winding down. Beckham split wide to the right. Manning looking his way. Corner of the end zone. Beckham goes up and cannot hold on.
Well, our experiment has been proven false.
Can't catch them all.
Well, if he gets 2 hands on it, it's going to be a catch. Bashaud Breeland, see what he does at the end of this, because he goes up, he's got it right there, trying to pull it back down. Look at him with the arm in between. Well done by Bashaud Breeland.
What's classy, too, is Beckham, after Breeland goes and pulls the ball out, he said, great job. Complimenting him.
Now Beckham split wide to the left. Second and goal. Beckham. He's got it. Touchdown.
It's not because of his height, and you get some guys down in the red zone and it's a matchup issue, a Jimmy Graham type of guy because of the height. And this one is just his ability to run fade, to run slant, to do all the number of different things, you know, from the wide receiver position. It's too soft of a cushion at that stage of the field by David Amerson. You've got to be a little bit tighter in that spot where the line of scrimmage was, or that's exactly what's going to happen.
And it's nice to see Eli Manning on the same wavelength as him. It's like those two are really connected.
12 receptions for Beckham. One shy of Tiki Barber's franchise record. It ties Hakeem Nick's record for a wide receiver in one game. Giants drive 12 plays, 76 yards, 5 receptions on the drive for Odell Beckham Jr. It's a hat trick, 3 touchdowns today. And the Giants lead by 11. They've outscored Washington, Darryl, 17-3 since the turning point. Just prior to halftime, touchdown taken away, and now the kickoff out of bounds off the foot of Brown.
Kickoff out of bounds, kicking team. Well, we placed it at the 40-yard line, first down.
So terrific field position for the Redskins. There's Colt McCoy. He started the game at quarterback, but aggravated the neck injury in the first quarter and was replaced by Robert Griffin III.
Yeah, you just can't stop your competitive juices from flowing, and a guy who wasn't supposed to play for a couple of weeks because of that neck injury last Sunday comes out, gets the start. You could see on that play, and that's how Colt McCoy's day ended. Now, this has really kind of fueled this whole debate because Robert Griffin III has stepped in and had a nice afternoon, and everything you hear coming out of Washington, Jay Gruden doesn't think that this is the future of quarterback, but Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder would like more time.
Pass broken up by Quentin Depps as we head to Los Angeles for a game break, and Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, Kenny, coming up, it's Jim Harbaugh. It's his old nemesis, Pete Carroll. As Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers travel to Seattle to face Richard Sherman and the Seahawks. Last time Sherman saw Cap, he had 2 interceptions. It's America's Game of the Week next on Fox.
Did you see that, Darryl? They shook hands.
Very brief, though.
Let bygones be bygones.
Second and 10. RG3 hit, lost the football on the sack by Jonathan Hankins, and then the center Corey Lichtensteiger falls on it. 5th sack for the Giants, and that's 6 straight games. Redskins offensive line has allowed at least 5 sacks.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, that's 15 in their last 3 games now, and it was one of the concerns coming in. Washington, not just the offensive line, but the coordination of all the protections involving the running backs and the tight ends, just not up to par the last couple of weeks.
3rd down and 23, under pressure again. This time it's JPP. 6 sacks for the Giants, 21 their last 3 games.
And we know that we've had an issue over here, and, you know, you got to help out. You know, Chris Thompson again, no, you got to go tighter to your tackle. You got to help him out. You know, you've moved Tom Compton from right tackle over to left tackle because Trent Williams is out of the lineup. You don't need to be out of the route that quick on a 3rd and 20-plus situation. Make sure your quarterback can throw the ball.
Corey Lichtensteiger, the injured Redskin. RG3 sacked 6 times since the 2nd quarter. So it's 6 straight games. Redskins have allowed at least 5 sacks. 2nd longest streak in the league.
That is
150 years.
174 yards in penalties and sack yardage. Wow. To take off, you know, a nice offensive day at 354. So that's the issue with Washington, just all these negative plays.
They just beat themselves.
They're in the top 12 in both offense and defense. The only other teams both played in the Super Bowl last year, Denver and Seattle. But the issue today, as Darryl mentioned, sacks, penalties, trail by 11. Well, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. So the Giants get the ball back, leading by 11 from the 36-yard line. Arnowski shifts into the backfield. The handoff to Williams. And Darryl, of course, the Giants coaching situation, well documented here in New York. Tom Coughlin, head coach since 2004. Giants have won 2 Super Bowls. Does have time remaining on his contract, and I think you and I both agree, and we've talked about it for the last 3 days, that in our opinion, he should be back as the Giants head coach next year.
Absolutely. I really don't think there's really any need for discussion on this topic. I know Giants fans have been frustrated. We mentioned at the top, again, this season they'll have missed the playoffs 5 out of the last 6 years, but you've got a new offense. Ben McAdoo told us the progress will come from year 1 to year 2, so they'll be better next year. Odell Beckham Jr. and Victor Cruz together on the outside, that's a dynamic package. And the biggest question is, who are you going to hire to replace Tom Coughlin? The Niners did this after they fired Steve Mariucci, and they suffered through 8 years of mediocrity and 4 coaches as they tried to figure this out.
Plus 19 players on injured reserve this season, including 8 key starters. Well, how about this bright spot for the Giants? Odell Beckham Jr., another tremendous game here today.
And I was surprised to learn that the New York Giants have never had an offensive rookie of the year. And Odell Beckham Jr. has put himself near the top of that list of candidates this season.
Eli Manning has completed 23 passes, more than half. 12 of the 23 have gone to Odell Beckham Jr. today. He was Giants' first-round draft choice, 12th overall out of LSU, hindered by those hamstring issues throughout the OTAs, training camp, preseason, missed the first 4 games of the regular season. And what he has done now over the last 7-8 weeks has been spectacular.
Okay, we've waited since the first quarter here, Kenny. Moose, how did you get your nickname Moose?
Well, you know, Tony, at practice, when you break up into individual group and everybody kind of goes off and works on specific things to the position, we've got our tight ends at one part of the field, running backs, offensive line, quarterbacks, wide receivers. We would go to that part of the field and then come back together as an offense. And as we were walking in as running backs, there was nobody that was my size. Even my backup fullback at the time was 5'10", 240. So at 6'2", 245, I was much larger than everybody else in my group walking up to the offensive part of practice. And Babe Laufenberg, our backup quarterback at the time, said, "You look like a moose walking in a field of deer." when you come into the team park.
And it just stuck from that point on.
Stuck like glue. I mean, it happened that afternoon, and it never went away.
So I'm pretty upset that I even asked you the question after I heard that story. I thought it was going to be something much more exciting.
No, see?
I mean,
well, it's a simple thing. How many guys want a nickname? It just happens naturally, right? This is Lenny. This is Lenny right here.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to come up with something with your jacket on today.
You ain't got to change it. It's just a nice faux.
And then John Madden, of course, picked up on Moose, and the rest is history.
Yes. Troy actually mentioned it to him in a production meeting one time and referred to me as Moose, and John Madden was like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Daryl." And he's like, "Ah."
That's all he needed. That's all John needs, and then he'll run with it.
Weatherford's punt. Roberts lets it go. Down inside the 20. Well, Week 15 continues later today on CBS and on Fox. Then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Redskins offense back out on the field. So from a Washington standpoint, Daryl, has Robert Griffin III, in your eyes, proven something to Jay Gruden and the Redskins coaching staff today?
Well, I think you have one more year under his rookie contract, so you've got that time. Now, the big thing for the Washington Redskins, they're going to have from December 29th of this year until May 3rd of next year, the day after the draft, to decide whether they want to give him that fifth-year option, which would be $16 million. So, obviously, he's going to have to do a lot of work and gain the confidence of Jay Gruden and everybody at Redskin Park to be able to afford that opportunity to have that fifth year. But I would stay with him next year. I think you've committed to a lot of assets to this. I think you play this hand out, and I think by what he's done today, he's played much better today than he did in that three-game stretch.
Pass is caught by Thompson. The right, you gave up a number of draft picks. Just ask Jeff Fisher. 2-minute warning.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by ExxonMobil.
Giants looking to win their fourth straight over the Redskins. Odell Beckham Jr. Huge day, 12 receptions, 143 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the Giants as Jackson is down at the 38. Coming up following the Giants and the Redskins, we will send you to Buffalo. Bonus coverage of the Bills and the Packers as this NFL regular season winds down. Week 15, RG3 down. Back at the 34, it is Jonathan Hankins again. And for the Giants, sack number 7.
Well, I thought he was hurt on that one. It looked like he grabbed for something. It's good to see him up on his feet again, and still waiting for a couple of Washington Redskins to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Sean Jackson finally gets back. Hand off to Thompson. Nowhere to go. 1 minute remaining. It is now 4th down. By the way, both of these teams could have a lot to say as far as the playoff picture in the NFC East. Giants travel to St. Louis next week and then finish up home against Philadelphia. Redskins 2 home games remaining, Philadelphia and Dallas.
Yes, big game later this afternoon against Dallas and Philadelphia, rematch at Thanksgiving. Interested to see how Dallas plays. Tony Romo on a short rest that week after a Sunday game and a Thursday Thanksgiving Day game. He's had 10 days to recover.
Redskins take the play clock all the way down and use a timeout with 20 seconds remaining. Great job by our entire crew, led by producer Barry Landis, director Brian Lilly, associate director Joe Williams, broadcast associate Paul Marmero, sideline producer Nick Gagliano. Happy birthday to Nick this Tuesday. Technical producer Sid Drexler, technical director Chris Castro. Dave Corris crunching the numbers for us along with Rick Camps, and our spotter is Ben Boma. So the Giants 20 seconds away from their second consecutive victory. They will go to 5-9 as Beckham is back deep. You have one more play in him.
Wouldn't surprise me.
The punt by Tressway is off the hands of Beckham and recovered by the Redskins. Trenton Robinson on the recovery with 9 seconds remaining.
Yeah, he really didn't seem committed to that punt. You're going to see he's not going to really get there, but we've talked about, you know, his hands and how good they are.
Out of the way.
Looks like they're going to have one more play.
Giants had not turned the ball over today, and that extends their streak. They have the longest active streak in football now, a turnover in 30 straight games. Now, the Redskins with 9 seconds remaining. Redskins will drop to 3-11 with their 6th consecutive defeat as Deshaun Jackson is tackled at the 26-yard line. Redskins out of timeout, so that will do it. The turning point, the Griffin touchdown that was called back at the half. Giants win it. Now to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. Time for the State Farm game break. Take it away, Kurt.